Can anyone tell me the components of DNA? Nucleotides, what else?
Phosphate and sugar.
And a sugar, correct. What are, or the nucleotides, I mean, that are available? Adenine, thymine, guanine, and
Tyrosine.
Okay, and what are the differences between DNA and RNA? Double strand versus single, which is double strand?
DNA.
RNA is single-stranded. Okay, DNA uses thymine, RNA uses uracil. All right, any other differences? About where you can find them?
DNA is in the nucleus, RNA is outside the nucleus.
Inside and outside, throughout this. What does it mean to have transcription? Making a copy of the strand, the DNA strand. And the translation is using the transcribed copy to create a new strand. Correct. What's the difference between homozygous and heterozygous? Separate alleles. So we have the alleles, which are each individual gene. So this is one, this is one. These are each alleles. These are both what? Homozygous, because they're the same. Heterozygous is different alleles. So those are the differences there. Alrighty. Darwin, what was his theory that he was most famously known for? Natural selection, right. Lines of evidence, right? So can anybody give me any of these? Adaptation. Biogeography, yes. Yeah, we have fossil records. Was comparative anatomy. Comparing the bodies, the anatomy of different creatures, comparative anatomy. And embryology, genetics. The 4 assumptions.
Oh.
Rules or the 4 assumptions. Like organisms.
Begat. Like organisms.
There are variations in all populations. You guys remember that?
More organisms produced than live to reproduce.
Variations, not always due to environment.
And they can be heritable.
Correct. And these variations can be heritable. These variations determine which organisms live to reproduce.
Yeah.
You guys remember about dominance, right? Simple dominance, codominance. Simple dominance just means a dominant allele will be expressed over a recessive. The codominance means that there's a difference between each particular genotype. Do you guys know the difference between genotype and phenotype? Phenotype is a physical representation. This is the genotype. What genes, what alleles are actually in that phenotype. Mendel's basic laws, independent assortment, segregation. At the point when the chromosomes are being split and then they separate. So segregation is the separation. Independent assortment means they can be mixed up randomly with each other, any which way.
Yes, Jesus guys wrote the thing at the same time as
Wallace had Darwin's idea before Darwin did, but didn't publish it. Lamarck, the theory of acquired characteristics. Linnaeus, the taxonomy. Mathis, he's the one that had the notion of struggle in BA, catastrophism. Lyell, the uniformitarianism and the age of the earth. Equilibrium criteria, no mutation, no selection, and no genetic drift. Random mating, infinitely large population, equal fertility. There we go. Anybody?
Is it all
So that is the equilibrium criteria. Remember, there's 3 no's and 3 yeses. You guys remember the types of selection? All right, so these are just the curves of population. I always use height, it's just the easiest to remember. The first one would be stabilizing. So can anyone tell me what occurs in stabilizing selection? Think about the name, it stabilizes, so it makes it more normal. It's gonna be beneficial to be in the average, and the disruptional forces are acting on the extremes. So if you're really tall or really short, there's selective forces acting against you. Next one we have, directional. It pushes either one way or the other. So it's either acting against really short people and making the curve more towards the higher end, or it could be the other way, acting, making the curve go this way, is advantageous when there's this destabilizing or disruptive selection. Last one is destabilizing, the balanced polymorphisms. Malaria and sickle cell is the best example of that. That's when one genetic mutation causes an actual benefit against another condition. Order is primates, right? Suborder is, remember the X-linked crosses? That's when we have the chromosomes, each have their own. And so if there was only one, then this one would not have it. It's linked to the X chromosome, not to the Y. Next section we got into was awesome primates. Order is primates, right? Suborder is some basic primate characteristics. Think about it, remember we went through the body from top to bottom. So large brain, body size, forward-facing eyes, reduced olfactory sense, tactile fat, clavicle, yes. Shoulder mobility, yeah. The radius and the ulna, grasping hands. Long infancy development period, single placenta. What are some of the prosimian characteristics that are different from primate characteristics? Wet nose, dental comb, the toilet cloth, mobile ears, whiskers. The dental formula is 2133, no bony eye socket, tapetum, the reflective surface on the retina. What are some examples of prosimians?
Bush babies.
Under Anthropology, we have two infraorders, Platyrrhini and Catarrhini. Platyrrhini's flat nose, Catarrhini is the hook nose. Which ones are the New World monkeys? Platyrrhini. What are some examples of New World monkeys?
Spider monkey.
Spider monkey. Howler. The tamarins, owl monkeys, marmosets. Some of the characteristics of the New World monkeys. Prehensile tails. The Callitrichidae, the marmosets and tamarins, they actually have claws on all fingers except the great toe. Moving on to the Catarrhini, superfamilies of Hominoidea and Cercopithecodea. Old world monkeys, yeah. They're known for having the sitting pads, dilophodont molars, sexual dimorphism. Dental formula is usually 2123. Some examples of old world monkeys. The mandrills, baboons, closest friends and relatives. Under Hominoidea, we have three different families. Gibbons, siamangs. We have Pongidae, which are all the great apes.
Gorilla, chimp, and orangutan.
And bonobos. Mostly knuckle walkers, flattened chests, no tail. That brings us to us, Anthropologia. Infraorder is Catarrhini. Superfamily, Hominoidea. No. Family, Hominidae. Genus is Homo. The species is Homo sapiens. All right. Some of the primate locomotor patterns.
Bipedalism.
Bipedalism.
Knuckle walking.
Quadrimanuous, brachiation, slow climbing, and some of the primate residence patterns. Okay, let's start with harem, right? One male, multiple females. Example that you guys gave was gorillas. Solitary, to the orangutans, and they're usually by themselves. The male territories will never intersect, but there are females that are within that area that intersect with the male's territory. Monogamy is another one. Almonkeys, siamangs, polyandries. We have one female and multiple males. Marmosets, tamarins, multi-male, multi-female. Chimps.
Sahelanthropus chadensis.
That is 7 to 6 million years ago. Arnin, Tuganensis, Ardipithecus, Nagua, and Ramidus. From about 7 to about 4.4 million years ago. Three Australopithecines, 4 to 1 million years ago. Anamensis, 4 million years ago. Afarensis, to 3 million years ago. All right. Platyops, 3.5 million years ago. Africanus, Boisei, Aethiopicus, Robustus, Garhia, 2.5 million years ago. Homo habilis, Homo rudolfensis, 2.5 million years ago. Homo erectus and Homo ergaster. Asia for erectus, Africa for ergaster, 1.8 million years ago. Heidelbergensis, Neanderthals, Homo sapiens. Habilis or Garhi, older one. Early and late Acheulean, erectus and ergaster. Starian, Neanderthals, Auritmation. That's modern humans, right? Chattobroni, Neanderthal. Right? Coelacanths and whales share a common ancestor with a fossil gene coding for the SWS opsin. All right, the answer is false. They do not share that common ancestor. Genes that are no longer critical to an organism's survival and reproductive success may start to accumulate both synonymous and non-synonymous mutations. True. The MC1R gene is clearly responsible for the loss of the SWS opsin in owl monkeys. False. Many mammals that have trichromatic vision also show an increased number of dysfunctional genes for olfaction. This is true. Short interspersed elements are useful in tracking levels of relatedness among types of animals. True though. Bulbous monkeys have 2 additional pancreatic ribonuclease genes coding for digestive enzymes. True. Purifying selection acts to remove any mutations that tend to reduce an organism's chance for survival or the ability to attract mates. That's true. Chance and time are the 2 most important factors in considering likelihood of a particular mutational event happening. True. Non-synonymous mutations occur in gene sequences less often than pure chance would predict. Chance, selection, and time are the key elements governing evolution. This is true. This is true. Changes in average body size of Atlantic cod can be directly attributed to human actions. True.